Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your money and career reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, please hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be linked and listed in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Virgo, money and career, Virgo. Virgo, money and career, Virgo. Virgo, money and career, Virgo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels, and spirit guides. This one right here. Fantastic. So at the bottom we have our roots, and think of this as a tree. This is the bark, the roots, and here are the branches and the foliage. Okay, so we're starting at the roots. We have the Page of Cups, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, and the King of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We're going to be getting information from the most unlikely of places and also spaces. Things can really start to inspire us, seeing the beauty within things. And then there's a real sense of being astoundingly determined, astoundingly focused, really looking at what we want. There's a transformation going on. We don't want to be outshadowed or overshadowed by somebody. So just be mindful of that. The Four of Cups, divinity is handing us a gift that doesn't feel like a gift at the time at all. We then have Temperance coming in. This is Sagittarius energy. Time frame November 22nd to December 21st. Balance, that's balance coming forward. Judgment arising out of the box, where we felt confined, now being able to rise. And then we have the Eight of Wands, things moving really quickly. We have the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. We can have a partnership coming forward, like a person we just click with, or a person that really inspires us coming forward. The Wands are a soulmate connection, a true love connection. So that's going to be really rather beautiful. And then we have the Hermit, which is, of course, us. So there can be this really great connection with a fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, that helps us see into things more clearly. Also, just remember, we don't want to be overshadowed by them. So if they're going to start to take credit for everything and be like, oh, well, this is what I did, this is what I did, it's also warning us not to be overshadowed by somebody who wants to use us and then leave us. So just be very mindful of that during this time, because especially within our career, there's going to be a sense of we like to be more behind the scenes. We don't mind being front and center when it calls for it, but all the time being front and center is exhausting. So we're going to want to be behind the scenes, and there's going to be this need to have it balanced. Like, I don't have to be in your face to know that I've done this, or for you to know that I've done this. So there's going to be another person who wants to be in everybody's face, like shows up when it's time to sign things, when it's time to get noticed. they'll be there. And it might very well be a woman at this time or somebody who has more feminine energy about them. So do be mindful of that. Okay, let's look at our chakra energy. Virgo, money and career, Virgo, money and career, Virgo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Okay, meditation. This is the crown chakra. And there's going to be a need here, and it's especially true for us, Virgo, that we need to meditate. We need to take time to pull ourselves back from the world, because it can be intense, it can be overwhelming, it can be a bit too much. And because we're represented by the hermit, there's this need for self-introspection. So when we have that coming forward, and with meditation, there's this desire to focus on the heart, on the mind, on what we're planting, on what we're growing within our thought patterns, within ourselves, within our desires. And we're looking at how we can achieve more, but we're also looking at how we can settle conflicts within us that are causing us to doubt ourselves, that are causing us to be overwhelmed, that are causing us to look at things in a different light than we want to. So there's going to be this real need to step back and to meditate 20 minutes a day if we can, to be able to just connect, or 20 minutes once a week to be able to just connect would be absolutely beautiful. And there's a sense here of greater power coming out because of it. And there's a real sense of being able to look at the seeds that we are planting, what it is that we desire, how it is that we're moving forward. It moves us to the energy we need to be mindful of. What is the energy that Virgo needs to be mindful of? Money and career. What is the energy that Virgo needs to be mindful of? Money and career. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Justice. Libra energy. But there's also a sense of things having to be done a certain way, having to be structured a certain way. So during this time, we want to be a bit more free with things. This is discernment. It's saying, be discerning here. We don't want to be reined in. We don't want to be overwhelmed. We don't want to be confined in a lot of ways during this time. And even if we are confined, even if it is a sentiment of, okay, well, these are the rules and this is what has to be done and this is the institution for which it has to be done in, it's like, okay, that's cool. But I need to be able to have wiggle room for creativity. And during this time with justice, if we're kept to a contract of things, if, this contract is always brought up, and I'm seeing like working with somebody and they're always throwing it in your face. And it could be this person that we have right here. But there's also illumination of a passion and desire and creativity that guides us forward. So if this person keeps on throwing things back in our face and saying, well, you said you were going to do this and you said you were going to do that, and this has to be 50-50 all the time, but I can take more when it suits me. They don't say I can take more when it suits me, but they definitely imply it. There's going to be a need here for balance. There's going to be a need here to say, this isn't working for me. This isn't what I signed up for. Or, to work out something if we have to endure this for a period of time, or if this is the new person that we're collaborating with, that we're working with, to be able to really be assertive within ourselves. And also to be able to just to start documenting things, just to start saying, okay, we had this conversation, it went this way, and then they came back, 15 minutes later, and they totally said something different. And we're going to see this happening a lot during this time. So just to be prepared is going to be very beneficial. We're also going to find ourselves, again, being inspired from the most unlikely places. And this could be where the person is having a bit of trouble with, because we're having a bit of trouble with them, because we have these inspirations coming forward and they want them. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly one person. It can be, a group of people. It can be that we do feel underappreciated by our boss, but there is this real sense of shining, okay, in our careers, in our hobbies, in what we desire bringing forward in our lives, because the wands are coming together and it really is going to be quite beautiful. And there's this real sense of looking at what we desire. The wand being held by the hermit right here, being held by the queen. There's a sense of this sharing, of this collaboration, of this understanding, of this beauty. But we do have to just be mindful of the other part that Spirit was saying, that there is going to be a tension, but there is going to be the sense of wanting to put in and putting in the long hours, being really dedicated. The the prince of, not the prince, the page of cups is also a child's energy, a water sign energy. It can be that we're very inspired by a child, by our child, by the person that we are caring for. It can be that, we start to look at things in a very heartfelt way, saying, how do I want things to develop? How do I want me to develop? Where is it that I want to be? How is it that I want to move forward? What is it that I'm looking for? Our emotions are going to be a bit running high because we're going to expect so much from ourselves during this time. We're going to have such high expectations. And in a sense, we're going to feel like we have to have such high expectations because there is such a sense of passion and purpose and focus and understanding. Now here, we can put them like this, and then they're looking at each other. The Spirit's like, we have each other's backs. So this is a person who at times, like, they have our backs, but they don't always have our backs. So here, there is this real sense of looking in different directions, being able to kind of call out what's coming, but we don't always see everything eye to eye. So that's going to be where we have to be mindful of things. There's a sense here, and with the Queen, you don't have any Ouroboroses, the serpent eating its own tail, which you do have here within the King quite prominently. And that's because the Queen of Wands shows this bravery of self and this tapping into inner magic, inner abilities, talents. We don't have to say magic, it can be talents, but because of the black cat, I like the idea of magic. But there is this inner power and this inner bravery that comes forward, this new dawn that comes forward with the King, with the sacred masculine energy that's here, and of course she represents sacred feminine energy. With the King, you have the Ouroboros, you have the serpent eating its own tail, you have the sense of knowledge becoming wisdom, becoming what we live by, becoming wisdom, becoming what we live by. And it's that endless cycle until there is nothing left to devour. And so here we have that Ouroboros leading us forward with also the bravery, but we have it all down his cape. And we see it in the Page of Wands and the Knight of Wands. The Page of Wands has some closed, some open. Children have moments of inspiration, and moments of chaos. And, then we have the adult, where it's more chaos, it's more proving ourselves with the Knight, the adolescent, the person who has a lot to prove. The King does not have much to prove. He knows where he stands. He knows what he stands for. He knows what he wants. And that's going to be very much us within our careers. I know what I want. I know where I'm heading. Or even if you're going to say, but Dane, I don't, we're going to have this inspiration that comes in that starts to make things just a little bit more clear, a little bit more insightful, a little bit more like, oh, that's what I am. Like, that's what I do really well. And people in our world, we think the higher the capital, the higher we earn from it, the more we make, the more worth our skill has. And that's not necessarily true. Some of the people who make the most money are right nasty people. They just are. They can have that viciousness to them that has them accumulating more and more and more. But we have to look at our talents. Some of us are really good at connecting. And you can see that you can make a lot of money in sales if you are really good at connecting. But also, even if you're on the lower end, you can have that connection. You can work with your customer and make them feel wanted, make them feel valued. We can see that in teachers. We can see that in a whole group of people. If we have people who can make genuine connections and build those genuine connections, it becomes a very powerful thing. And we don't tend to value that as much because we're like, oh, well, if they're making the big sales, okay, maybe. But if you're lower, then no, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Look at your talents. Look at what you're really good at. Try making an Etsy shop. Try different things. Step out of your comfort zone and start moving forward, because the King of Wands with the Queen of Wands is like, business-wise, there's power here. And we're earth sign energies, so we have prosperity on our side. And we might think, okay, well, where's the prosperity? I'd really like to see it. But we do have the sense of earning capability and being smart with money on our side. It might not be all the time, but there is that to our personality. And so here, with the passion, with the focus, with the desire, it starts to open things up to us, and it starts to open things up for us. And it leads us here to the Four of Cups. We're getting a gift that, again, it does not feel like a gift. It can feel like a bit of a curse. It can feel like, oh my gosh, now I have to handle this. Down the road, we'll start to see how this pays off. Down the road, we'll start to see, the pressure that we were put under to make a diamond. Because remember, Diamonds aren't made because everything's nice and easy. Diamonds are a piece of coal that's put under tremendous amount of pressure for a tremendously long period of time. The pieces of coal that can't take it, they break, they crumble. But the pieces of coal that can, they become diamonds. And divinity is handing us a gift. We do take it. We do find inspiration from it, and we can see that with the Page of Cups. But it doesn't feel like a gift. It feels odd. It's talking to a fish. It's kind of like when you read the story of Finn McCool and I don't know if it's called like the salmon of knowledge or something like that. And he talks to this fish, and I think he winds up eating the fish, and he winds up getting all this wisdom because of it. And it sounds so odd, but it's like, it sounds odd, but it works. So here, we're going to be seeing that things that sound odd, that things that, we think, oh, okay, what's the purpose of this? Or, oh, why am I even putting the time and effort into it? We'll start to see that it pays off down the line, that there's something that we learned from it, or there's something that we gained from it that really starts to open up our doors, or connections that we made that we thought, oh, well, I didn't think this was valuable, but they become intrinsically valuable. And then we have balance coming in. This sense of the subconscious and the conscious mind, this sense of what we desire and what we long for, what we're working towards, and what our soul really wants us to have, this sense of emotional understanding and the sense of earthly practicality coming forward. Also a sense of protection, of relationships and of new dawns and new understandings. We have the mountains and the sun, which makes me really think of the Death card, because the Death card has the mountains and the sun. And there's this sense, I believe it does, and there's this sense here of that regeneration, that Ouroboros theme coming forward. And then we have judgment. So as we're finding the balance coming in, as we're having the awakening of the third eye guiding us, it leads us to judgment. It leads us to raising out of our boxes, raising out of what had confined us, what had drawn us back, like what had kept us from where we needed to be. It's kind of like we're fighting being put in the box right now. We're very much fighting being put in the box. And we're very much saying, what do I want? And what do I need? And who am I? And where do I want to be? And what do I desire for my life? And where am I headed? What am I headed towards? And there's this sense of our angels calling us as our angels are balancing us and showing us the beauty of ourselves, of where we want to be, of what we're looking towards, of, this just isn't it. So there is a sense of working through a lot of hurts and pains and disappointments, things that we're trying and upsetting and thinking, oh, that's just it, isn't it? And it's like, no, it's not. There's so much more here than we realize. And then as we start to see this, as we start to see ourselves rise, we have the change coming in. We have ourselves being swept up in change, and it's around our career. Things are shifting within our career, and it doesn't have to be in a big way. It can be that we're tired being talked down to by our boss, so we start putting out our resume. It can be that we are not getting the satisfaction from work. Work is a paycheck, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. With work being able to support our families or to support ourselves, and doing that job. That is perfectly fine, and that's really commendable. I don't think we celebrate that enough, if at all, in our society anymore. And so here, we're going to see things start speeding up because we're going to see ourselves starting to change. We're going to see ourselves starting to rise and saying, okay, well, I'm covering this avenue of my life. I'm doing the best that I can, but I also need to let in joy, play, laughter, celebration. I need to start focusing on things that make me feel alive, that make me feel powerful, that make me, have excitement and beauty in my life again. And so we're going to see that really guiding us forward in a very real way. It leads us then to the Queen of Wands looking right at us. It leads us to this sense of passion and determination. And remember, I always say, if you're part of this family, I always say that, the Queen of Wands makes me think of the goddess Hestia. Hestia was the goddess of the hearth in Greek and Roman times. She was one of the main Olympians after the Olympians finished fighting with the Titans. And after they had that big war, that big bloodshed, the Olympians were going to have another war. They had too many gods and too many goddesses. There wasn't an equal number to sit upon the thrones of Olympus. And Hestia said, no, I'm not going to fight. We've just finished fighting. I'm not going to do this. And she stepped down to become a lesser goddess. And yet she was worshipped and at the center of every home in Greece and in Rome. That's important. That's important when we take our ego out of things and we say, no, you know what? I'm just going to follow me. I got this. I know I'm safe, I know I'm secure, I'm opening up the door. It's not saying that we let other people take advantage of us or, take power over us. It's saying that we're looking at our power and we're saying, this is what I want. It might not be what other people desire. Other people might laugh. I can just imagine, Athena and Aphrodite and Hera just laughing, just being like, you don't want to sit here on these thrones. You don't want to be a part of this power, this glory. And she didn't. And she still got her power and her glory anyway, just in a very different way, in a smaller, more secure way. And that's what we're going to be seeing here when it comes to our career. It's like, how do I want to move me forward? What is it that I desire? And yes, it can be more and more and more, but there's going to have to be a time where the more is enough, where we stop always pushing that carrot out just a bit more, and start being contented with where we stand. Because a life of what am I missing out on can lead us, can be that conquering spirit. Like, what am I missing out on? How can I be Alexander the Great here? But, who wants to be Alexander the Great? It wasn't that magnificent a life, though it was one that was astounding, if that makes sense. So here we turn inward. We start to look at what we want and what we desire, and we start to look at the essence of ourselves. What do we bring to the table? What is the hope and the dream and the star and the beauty that guides us forward? And that starts to be our guiding light. And let's see how Spirit defines this whole reading. Please define the reading for Virgo, money and career. Please define the reading for Virgo, money and career. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. It's the world. The world opens to us. It doesn't open to us because we break down doors. It doesn't open to us because we're incessantly fighting. It opens to us because he's reading this fairy tale book and he falls asleep. And it starts to open to him in his mind. Now, the beauty of that is that the mind doesn't know the difference between make-believe and reality, which if we think about it, that's really scary. But also it's astounding. So he's starting to open up his pathways in his mind to the fantastical, to what right now he thinks could only happen in fairy tales. But as we start to look at the fantastical, as we start to look at the magical and the beautiful, we start to say, why can't I? And it's not saying that I have to live in a castle. I very much like the Nordic statement of, I'd rather be king of a cottage than servant in a castle. It's saying, what do I want? What guides me? What brings me joy? What brings the magic into my world again? And where am I missing that magic? Our spirit animal message, Virgo, money and career. Virgo, money and career. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. There we go. The whale spirit, trust in the great mysteries. We're not supposed to have all the answers. Trust in the great mysteries. They will lead us in a profoundly amazing way. They will. The whale spirit is symbolic of the messengers, of the record keepers of the world. So here, it's like trust in the great mysteries. There's more to this world than we could ever realize. Our subconscious spirit animal message is the koi fish spirit. There is always enough. We like to come from a place of lack and of fear. And if we're not afraid about something, so we're not consuming, the fear is cranked up so that we'll buy more, we'll get more, we'll do more. Here, there's always enough. Step back, see what is needed, and know that there is enough. It moves us then to our subconscious person message, which is the moon. We have to be mindful of fear taking over. We have to be mindful of chaos taking hold. We have the subconscious and the conscious part of ourselves, the dog and the wolf. The lobster here, well, here it's a crab, grows in power, grows in purpose of self because of the serotonin levels. The larger the lobster, I'm not sure about crabs, but the larger the lobster, the more serotonin they produce, the more powerful that they are, the higher up in the hierarchy. So that's why it's so important, in Spirit said, to make room for play, to make room for laughter. Because when we play, we're allowing ourselves to be carefree. We cannot play, we cannot have laughter if we are completely stressed out all the time. So making room for play forces us to calm ourselves, and to release more dopamines. So that's going to be, that's something that's important. It brings us then to our subconscious chakra message, which is angels and masters, angels and spirit guides and divinity. And this is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above our crown. This is being protected. This is every aspect of ourselves from crown to toe, from soul star chakra to earth star chakra, being protected by our angels, being watched over, being cared for. And there's going to be this sense of, I don't need to, I got this. But we're going to think that. We're going to want to rebel against trying to be put into a box. Our angels and our spirit guides do not want to put us into a box. They want us to succeed. They want us to excel. And they want us to be protected while doing so. Our subconscious tarot message for the overarching theme of this, the definition, is the 9 of Swords. Our nightmares, our doubts, our fears are going to get into the way, are going to want to rip us down and hold us back. Do not let them. Good night sleeps, astoundingly important. If we're not sleeping well, taking ashwagandha or, calms or something like that to help us sleep, to help relieve the tension is important. It can be that we need to exercise a bit more, walk a bit or do something like that. Get out in the sunlight, just lay in a hammock in the sun is also a brilliant thing to do. And just be able to embrace peace so that the worry can stop, because the worry can steal away everything. And it will. It will. We can live our whole lives in the nine of Swords. Worries, fears, doubts, and I'm sure every single one of us knows somebody who does. Our subconscious message for this whole entire reading is the Tower. We're coming out of a Tower time. We are looking at, for some of us, we're coming out of a Tower time. A time that could have been a 16-year cycle, or 16 months, which is nicer, of things just changing, of things not being as they seem, divinity throwing us out of our comfort zone. Subconsciously, we could be going through a Tower time where, things are changing and we're seeing our passions and our desires and our impacts and saying, okay, where do I want to be from here? Like, how do I want to move forward? What do I desire? Because divinity is saying you can't stay where you once were. It's just not a fit anymore. And now it's time to embrace the extraordinary. It is. The Tower is never a nice thing to go through, but it does push us towards something that we never would have had, and that is part of divinity's higher plan. All right, Virgo. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace our passion, our determination, our fire, and our focus. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Virgo.